One thing we miss out on often is dehydration. This is something that we need to keep an eye on because it's a good indicator that there's a problem with your plant. When it comes to dehydration, you want to figure out the root cause. And the reason that you want to do that, it's because it's often the roots that are the cause. And welcome to the Nature Company. If this is the kind of information you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and that notification bell to be notified of all our upcoming videos so you don't miss out on a thing. We talk to you about watering your orchids quite often. We tell you how, when, how often, all of that sort of thing. But one thing we miss out on often is dehydration. This is something that we need to keep an eye on because it's a good indicator that there's a problem with your plant. So we'll go into some of the signs, the early signs and the late signs of dehydration, and help you identify these so that you can take a deeper look into your orchid at that point to make sure you can save it before it's too late. So this is an otherwise healthy flowering phalaenopsis. All the leaves are beautiful, strong color, flowers beautiful. There's some dampness in the pot. The roots in the pot look nice and green, but there's an early sign. No green tips to your aerial roots, which means the humidity levels are getting low, and we're going to have to bump up those humidity levels to make sure we can get those green tips again, so that we don't slow down the growth and happiness of this orchid. Also, with Cattleya, we look at the roots. If you see the root tips here have started to go brown and everything, even though we have new growth coming, we know that this is under some water stress and this needs to be sorted out before it starts becoming problematic for the plant. This is something that you'd probably want with all that good new root growth, nice plump pseudobulbs. You don't want this ridging in these Cattleyas. Then you know that there's dehydration taking place, and if there's dehydration taking place, there could be something wrong with the roots. And remember, orchids may not display dehydration in the same fashion that normal plants will. That's the newest growing tip will show it first. Generally the orchid will start from the other side, pushing all its water through from the back to where the new growth is. So you'll probably be seeing it in the older growth to start. So wrinkling of the pseudobulbs, yeah, we know that this has then been under water stress for a while and will need some care to bring it back to fullness. We may never get the plumpness back to the old pseudobulbs, but the new pseudobulbs we can see are going back, but very little root growth, so we know this needs to be repotted and made sure it's looked after properly. With Cattleyas, along with the roots and the pseudobulbs, we're looking for those twisted leaves. They're starting to lose their turgidity, that strong hardness to them, and they're twisting, turning, and just looking a little bit more limp. Then we know there's a dehydration problem. And here's an otherwise healthy looking brassica, but we look down here, we notice the roots aren't nice and white with those green tips. They're a little bit icky, and then we know that there's something going on inside here, so we'll have to open it out and have a look, because we want to get this sorted out before it's too late, because the plant is still healthy and we don't want it to go backwards. So a good early indicator. Another early indicator for those oncidiums is that pleated leaf. It's almost like fan-like. It gets stuck down at the bottom and then opens up all with all those pleats along it. This is also a sign of dehydration. So keep an eye out for that, and then you know you need to look deeper into your plant to see what's affecting it. What you don't want is these dried up pseudobulbs. So also with our Vandas and Mulcaras, the first thing we're going to do is look down at the root tips to see what's happening there. So let's have a look. So here we can see the very early signs. The heat is getting to them. They're needing more regular water. The tips are going that slight brownish color. We want to keep them that nice green to keep them in that full growth mode. Yeah, some of the tips are just about being stunted. We can notice just that slightest bit of turgidity being lost from the leaves and that little bit of wrinkling happening. So these are going to be needed to sprayed with water more often. Another sign that your vandas need more hydration is when you see their bottom leaves start falling off and you land up with these long stems with just the top growth. This is generally from reduced water supply. This one we had to repot because the stem at the bottom had rotted off, so we've got that repotting video. But we want to see the leaves all the way up the plant, and then we know it's nice and healthy. So we want leaf volume. So we want leaf volume all the way from the bottom, all the way up to the top. Then we know the plant is nice, strong and healthy. Want to keep these roots nice and green at the tips, keep them growing well. And sadly, rectifying dehydration is not as simple as just adding water. We need to find the cause of the dehydration first. And we can't just leave it lying in water hoping that these back bulbs will then plump up. Often it's not the back bulbs that will plump up, it's just the new growth that will start looking better. But if we haven't sorted out the cause of the dehydration, just by adding water, all we'll do is rot our plant. And when it comes to dehydration, you want to figure out the root cause. And the reason that you want to do that, it's because it's often the roots that are the cause. So once you've seen that you're having this dehydration happening, it's time to really inspect your plant, see what's happening in the media, see if there's any disease, because the dehydration is just the first sign that your orchid is starting to go backwards. Giving you that early indicator that you need to ensure that you can save your plant before it gets into real trouble. A robust root system, a key indicator as to whether your plant is going to thrive and flower consistently. And thank you for watching. If you have learned anything or enjoyed this content, please hit that like button. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell, bing bong, to be notified of all our upcoming content. And help us grow as we help your plant.